As a constitutional law attorney, former senior legal advisor, and personal counsel to President Donald J. Trump, Jenna Ellis believes in the rule of law and the importance of integrity in our elections. And she's ready to tackle the big cultural and legal issues facing America. This is the Jenna Ellis Show. Here is your host, Jenna Ellis.
Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of the Jenna Ellis Show. I'm Jenna Ellis, and as we look around our culture, we are seeing total perversion and depravity, and it's not just online on social media sites or some of these things that we can participate in, but it's literally in the streets. We saw so much from the Pride weekend that, frankly, I didn't want to see, with naked men running around on bicycles and having parents bring their children to these events. And so what can we do as Christians? What should we do as citizens in terms of a legislative remedy? Well, my friend Alan Mashburn, who is running for lieutenant governor from the great state of North Carolina, will join me right after this. He is a fiery preacher, and you are not going to want to miss his view on how Christians can engage policy and politics. With inflation, the banking world collapse, and everything that Joe Biden is doing not to protect America, you need to make sure to secure your financial health, especially in retirement. And hey, if you're a millennial like me, that actually is sooner than you think. You need to start now, even if you are a millennial or a Gen Zer, to make sure that your financial health is actually healthy when we get to retirement. And Legacy Precious Metals has a revolutionary new online platform that allows you to invest in gold and silver online in real time. In a few easy steps, you can open an account online, select your metals of choice, and choose to have them stored in a vault or shipped right to your door. You'll have access to a dashboard where you can track your portfolio growth in real time anytime. You'll see transparent pricing on each coin and bar, and this puts you in complete control of your money. The platform is free to sign up for. Visit legacypminvestments.com and open your account and see this new investing platform for yourself. Gold hedges against inflation and against a volatile stock market. A truly diversified portfolio isn't just more stocks and bonds, but different asset classes. This brand new platform allows you to make investments in gold and silver, no matter how small or large, with just a few clicks. Visit legacypm.com to get started. You can download the free investor's guide, and you can also call Legacy PM Investments to talk to a portfolio expert to get expert answers to your to customize your personal portfolio. So visit legacypminvestments.com to get started. Tell them that Jenna sent you. Alan Mashburn is a wonderful Christian and businessman and leader, and he is running for lieutenant governor out of the great state of North Carolina, and he joins me now. And so, Alan, thanks so much for joining me. And I know that I'm a huge fan of your current lieutenant governor, who is running for governor, Mark Robinson, and I think you two would make a phenomenal team. So let's start there. And you've received today, in fact, just minutes ago, a great endorsement from Riley Gaines. And I think she's doing really well to support some really solid Christians. So let's start with your campaign.
Well, I'm a father, I'm a pastor. I have 4 children, ages 19 to age 4. And I can't imagine what their future is going to be like if we don't take a stand constitutionally. And I know you're a great constitutional scholar, a very big fan of what you have done and what you're doing. But that's exactly why I'm running. We are running to take a stand for our children's future, to make sure that they have a future, because we must start thinking about the next generation, stop thinking about the next election, and throw the politicians out and put some ordinary people in there who actually have principles, have convictions that are built not only on the Word of God, which is most important, but constitutionally and cannot be bought.
Yes, so well
I'm running
said.
a race to do that. I'm not perfect by any means, but I am a man of conviction. I love this country, and I am sickened to see what we have going on.
So well said. And I could not agree more. I mean, we have to, as Christians and as conservatives, get back to our nation's founding, which is getting back to the biblical worldview and the truth of the person of God, and understanding that God, our creator, endowed us with certain unalienable rights, and our founders recognized that. And that's what's led to such blessings of liberty and freedom in this country. I was just talking about that this morning on my radio program, that we think of freedom and liberty as just the ability to do whatever we want. And a lot of Christians would say that, well, just to make sure that the government doesn't encroach upon my rights, then we have to let all of these leftists just do whatever they want, and less government is always better, instead of saying we have to draw moral bright lines where the truth of the matter is. And so, for example, I know that you were just as disgusted as me on this Libs of TikTok thing that she actually just highlighted. There is a social media influencer, Brian Krasenstein, and I've actually been in a few Twitter spaces with him. And I think that while he tries to pretend he's moderate, he's obviously very leftist. And he defended adult men riding around naked and flashing themselves to kids at a pride parade over the weekend. And this is what Brian said, and I want your response, Alan. So Brian said this: number one, seeing a man naked on a bike isn't going to have much of an impact on any kid. They have likely seen their father or brother naked before. Number two, sharing an uncensored video of a naked man on a bike to an audience of possibly 30 million kids on Twitter is arguably worse than riding a bike naked in front of a kid or two in a planned event that the kid's parents took them to. And number three, there are much, much worse things than the average kid will see or hear online and offline in a typical week.
Well, I certainly don't know this Brian Krasenstein, but I certainly don't want him to be influential to my children or anyone else's. He's seeking to do something that is terrible and horrendous, and that is to normalize this filth. And yes, I said filth. When you put all of this, think of a naked man anyway. That doesn't entice me whatsoever. But think of a naked man dancing in front of children. And I want to go out there and say this: why in the world would a parent take their children to see that anyway? We have a heart problem in this country, and it's something that can't really be dealt with legislatively. I don't want to grow the government either. Republicans are all about smaller government. But when we think about it, legislatively is the only way we can control this filth getting in front of our children and poisoning the next generation. There is nothing right about this, Brian, and you need to retract this. In fact, just stay at home and sit this one out, because stop trying to normalize this. It is not something you want to normalize. It does not end well. Go back historically to the Babylonians, to the Persians, the Macedonians, the Mongols, the Greek and the Roman culture. Anytime they got lax on their morality and they just became a nation of moral degradation, then they ended their way of life. They ended their society. It came to a close. They got so their strength completely left, and so they had achieved their highest marks, and everything thereafter was downhill. Is that what we want for America? Is that what we want our children to see? We've got failing test scores. We've got children dying and people dying from fentanyl coming across an open border. And here we've got naked men dancing in the streets. This is horrendous. It is shameful. It is embarrassing. I'm not that old. We're not that old. But I never thought I'd see this in America. And yes, I'm a pastor, and I live in the so-called Bible Belt. The Bible Belt needs another belt with the Bible. And we need to come out swinging as parents and say, we will not put up with this. And what the church needs to do, I know I'm covering a lot of ground here, but let me tell you something. I'm in it for the long haul, for the fight. What the church, what Christians, what believers need to do is get off of your blessed assurance and start standing up for what you believe in. And stand up, because we have no idea as citizens of this country how close we are to losing what we love in this country. That is something that is alarming.
Yes. And I think you absolutely hit the nail on the head when you said that the left is trying to normalize this. And when people like Brian Krasenstein and others, and even all of these people who are participating in Pride events, and then they're tweeting this as if this is something that is perfectly acceptable social behavior, what they're trying to tell parents is that this is totally fine to subject your kids to this kind of filth. And I agree with you that Republicans and conservatives tend to be limited small government. And that's true, but we still have to see that government is an institution that was ordained by God for our good and to promote good and restrain evil, to restrain this type of filth, to make it not only unacceptable in society, but actually illegal. And for somebody like Brian, who says, for example, seeing a man naked on a bike isn't going to have much of an impact on a kid. They've likely seen their father or brother naked before. What is he even talking about? I mean, this is basically saying, oh, just because, in the context, for example, of the nuclear family, then, maybe you've seen one of, your fellow family members coming out of the shower or something, then that means that you can see random strangers in public naked. I mean, that's his comparison. We've had laws against public nudity, exposition, all of these things, other types of pornography for children, exploitation for so long. And that's because we understand in this country, there's a measurable difference between right and wrong, good and evil, and government has to make those moral bright lines. And so many people, Alan, will say, well, if you say no to the crazy leftist, then that's going to encroach on my freedom. Well, then do we just do away with all criminal laws? No, we've always had to make those types of distinctions. And so what I am seeing dangerously here is a culture and Christians that are actually buying into this false narrative that somehow the legislature and the state can't contain this type of disgusting filth. So what is your opinion as a person who's running for lieutenant governor about the state's responsibility to protect children from this kind of disgusting behavior, even if their parents are stupid enough to go take them?
Well, government has a dual purpose here. Number one, you cannot enable it. Government has no right to enable it. The left has been touting to us that the government has no right to establish a religion. This has become their religion, and they have bought hook, line, and sinker into it. When the president of the United States has a pride event at on the South Lawn or wherever it was at the White House, and you have photos coming out of that event that are just horrendous, that are not, they actually have to be blurred out by the news media. We are in we're in a moral dilemma. We have a sin problem. And I know you're a believer and many of your listeners are believers. So let's just get down to the brass tacks. We have a sin problem. We have a heart problem. And so when you have a heart problem, you start, I tell my people all the time, sin will make you stupid. So we have gone into the area of insanity. Romans chapter 1, verses 18 through 32, where God gives over to a reprobate mind. And there is no boundary after that happens. God help us if we come to the point that God has given over this country beyond a point of no return. I am not God. I don't know that we're there. And I pray that we do not get near it. But as far as government's concerned, they cannot enable it. And that's what's going on specifically in this administration. Now, I would implore what we're doing in this state, and the General Assembly here in North Carolina have been very proactive in stopping the drag queen read story hours in front of children. The drag shows, there's legislation there that would invite all ages for drag shows to go on. Jenna, there's a reason why they don't have drag queen story hour in nursing homes. They want to groom children. So we must have laws set up through the legal system, the legislature, if you want to take your children to that, constitutionally, we can't do anything about it. But you will not put that in front of my child or anyone else's that wishes not to partake in your delusion. And I'm talking about the trans movement. I'm talking about the transgenderism. That's a big issue here in this state. You want to buy in that delusion, you go right ahead. But we're not buying into it, and you're not putting that in front of my child. So we have got to strengthen that. The federal government, as is, will not do anything for us. They're promoting it. So we, at the local and state level, we have got to be very proactive. Gone are the days where we have to be reactive of see what we see coming from California. Now we have to be proactive because it's going to be here not in 20 years, but 20 minutes.
Yeah, so well said. And I think if we are just in this mindset that we have to be defensive of the blessings of liberty and be defensive of our Constitution, then the defensive posture will always lose ground. We have to go on the offensive. And I think that that's what Christian conservatives are frankly the worst at. And we've bought into a lot of these secular myths, like a separation of church and state, meaning that we can't have any moral grounding in our law that comes from a biblical worldview or from God, or have Christians like you that are running for office because somehow that's establishing religion, or we have to have people who are totally amoral, meaning they don't have any worldview whatsoever to be in office, which then you couldn't have anybody in office because everyone has a belief system and a lens by which they view the world. And our founders even contemporaneously said we should select and prefer Christians as our leaders. Well, why? So that we can make sure to enforce a moral code in society that is reflective of the character and nature of God himself and the truth of morality. And so as you are talking to people on the campaign trail, as you're talking to people in your state, is there a hunger for more of this type of governance? Because, what I'm seeing across the country, even in the midterms and with some candidates that I endorse that I wish had gotten to office, there are so many people like you that are regular fathers, pastors, and, men and women, mothers and people who are involved in their church that are standing up and saying, I need to be responsible for my government and I need to run for office.
Oh, we are being well received. And I'll be honest, when we entered this race, there were several people that really wanted us to get out of this race. I'm not saying that they saw us as a threat, but, here's a guy who's a preacher, here's a dad, a homeschool father. What has he got to bring to the table? Well, I've got a lot to bring to the table. I've got a steel backbone, and I've got some principles and convictions based upon a biblical worldview. So when we go places, it's like a breath of fresh air. They enjoy it. They love it. And the reason why they love it is because we say what they think and we say what they feel, but either they don't feel like they have a voice or they feel inferior or they've been made to feel inferior. But they are not. We are the people, and we, the people, must be the people. And it's time to do that. Our tagline is be bold. Be bold in our principles, be bold in our voting, be bold in our stand. We have to be bold. And everywhere we go, we have been well received. I'll say this, and I say this before God. He knows it's true. We have not called to ask to speak anywhere. We have been inundated with requests to come and speak. And that's not because I'm popular, but it's because the message, the stand, the principles, they're popular. And people want that. It resonates with that. With them. And so they want leadership. Everything rises or falls on leadership. They want it. And that's why we're well received, because they see somebody who's willing to lay down on the line and say, you know what, come hell or high water, we're going to take a stand for children. We're going to take a stand for this country. We're going to take a stand for our Constitution. We're going to stand for God. And we're not going anywhere because there is nowhere else to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we saw that mirrored in the Family, Faith, and Freedom Conference over the weekend, and seeing Christians that are coming together that are saying, something is deeply wrong with the culture of our country when this kind of thing and this kind of depravity can be flaunted in the streets as normal and be normalized among especially our young people. And so we have to be teaching them the precepts and principles of the truth. And that does resonate with every person, because we know that the law of God is written on our hearts. And when we are open to understanding the truth and we're taught the truth, then we do understand that. And that's the only thing that mirrors and reflects reality. So what is your encouragement for Christians who are seeing everything going on in culture and they're thinking, well, I don't live in North Carolina. And that's, and maybe, you'll get some people from the show who are saying, hey, I want to go in and vote for you and I want to move there and support you. But, maybe they're in other states and they're combating this, or their school boards. As a pastor, what would you say to the Christian?
Well, everywhere I go, I see the same thing. People just they want to live their life. They want government to leave them alone, and they just want to raise their children. This is America. It's the only place in the world left that you can do that, and we must fight. The one thing I would leave with them is be encouraged. Do not be downtrodden. Do not throw in the towel. Do not. Now, the one thing you can do is turn off the TV and do not watch the networks. But raise your children in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. I don't know where everyone is in their spiritual life. And at this moment, listen, it doesn't matter right now at this moment. What matters most is that you teach your children in a way that honors God. You don't have to be Baptist like I am. What you have to do is get in there and be engaged with your children. Teach them the greatness of this country, the blood that's been shed for this country, and then go and teach them in correlation with the blood that's been shed for their sin. We have got to raise a generation that loves God again and loves this country. And so be encouraged. If you have children or grandchildren, be active in their lives. Get them off of technology and be engaged with them. Let them talk with you, because time is going to run out as far as our lives, circle of life, and they're going to wonder what you are all about. Pour your life and your soul into them, because they're our next generation. Never forget that you are so important to their lives, to their upbringing, and for the next generation in this country. You're so important. Be encouraged and be of good courage.
Be encouraged. And, I'm the product of two parents that took that admonition very seriously. And I was homeschooled K through 12, and my parents invested in me. They discipled me. And I was set on such a great trajectory, having read through the scriptures through once a year with my family, all growing up, and then growing up in fear and admonition of the Lord, and also being taught from a very young age the biblical worldview and to confront the lies and deceptions of the culture, so that when I got to college and I got to law school, not only could I confront that, but I could even recognize it. And that's what I think homeschool parents do in such a great way, is to truly invest in their children, not just the knowledge, but also the discipleship. And that's what we truly need. And I know, I'm so thankful to my parents for giving me the greatest gift, which was that discipleship and education. And so for the homeschool parent that's out there, I would say be encouraged as well, because that made all of the difference in my life. And I know that I would not have the boldness to speak out and to have really pursued the calling that the Lord gave me if my parents had not fulfilled the calling the Lord gave them, which was to homeschool. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm grateful for homeschool parents like you as well, Alan. So where can people and parents and people in North Carolina go to support you in your campaign for Lieutenant Governor?
Our website is very simple, Allen, ALLEN, for NC.com, AllenforNC.com. We're all over social media. Mashburn for NC. You can find us. We try to dominate social media, and we have a great team of young people that do that, because now I'm considered old. But at any rate, AllenforNC.com. Pray for us. We are in spiritual warfare, spiritual battle, and I remind our team daily. The folks that we see on these videos, like on Libs of TikTok, these are not our enemies. The ideology is our enemy. Satan is our enemy. But these people are not our enemies. Now, we fight bold, but we also look at them with compassion, because it's almost as if when Jesus was on the cross, they know not what they do. And they will rue the day when they realize what they have done. But we have to fight. So I would appreciate prayers. I would appreciate, obviously, I'm told to ask for money, but we need God in this, and we want to do well for him.
Amen to that. And blessings to you. Continue to speak out boldly and courageously. And I wish you success in your venture for the Lord, because this country is ours to protect and preserve, as God has given us such a great inheritance of the blessings of liberty. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and insights and your campaign with us today. Thanks.
Well, thank you for having me. I've been a fan of yours for a long time, since you served in the White House, and watched your work, and nothing but respect for you. God bless you.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. Thank you. With inflation, the banking world collapse, and everything that Joe Biden is doing not to protect America, you need to make sure to secure your financial health, especially in retirement. And hey, if you're a millennial like me, that actually is sooner than you think. You need to start now, even if you are a millennial or a Gen Zer, to make sure that your financial health is actually healthy when we get to retirement. And Legacy Precious Metals has a revolutionary new online platform that allows you to invest in gold and silver online in real time. In a few easy steps, you can open an account online, select your metals of choice, and choose to have them stored in a vault or shipped right to your door. You'll have access to a dashboard where you can track your portfolio growth in real time anytime. You'll see transparent pricing on each coin and bar, and this puts you in complete control of your money. The platform is free to sign up for. Visit legacypminvestments.com and open your account and see this new investing platform for yourself. Gold hedges against inflation and against a volatile stock market. A truly diversified portfolio isn't just more stocks and bonds, but different asset classes. This brand new platform allows you to make investments in gold and silver, no matter how small or large, with just a few clicks. Visit legacypm.com to get started. You can download the free investor's guide, and you can also call Legacy PM Investments to talk to a portfolio expert to get expert answers to to customize your personal portfolio. So visit legacypminvestments.com to get started. Tell them that Jenna sent you.
Have you ever picked up a towel set because it felt so soft in the store, but then when you leave and you go to use it, it's not really that absorbent? It's basically a towel that is leaving you out to dry. That's why MyPillow has developed the MyPillow towels that actually work. I know, it's totally mind-blowing. Towels that actually dry you. Their 6-piece towel set includes 2 bath towels, 2 hand towels, and 2 washcloths. They come in a variety of colors. I have the sage green and the white. I love them. And right now you can receive a 6-piece set for only $39.98 with promo code Jenna. That's JENNA. So go to mypillow.com right now and click on the radio listeners special. MyPillow products come with a 10-year warranty and have a 60-day money-back guarantee. So to receive this amazing offer on the 6-piece towel set of MyPillow towels, just go to mypillow.com, click on the radio listener special, and enter promo code Jenna, that's JENNA, or call 1-800-564-8475. That's mypillow.com, promo code Jenna.